And I'm outraged, I'm sickened, and I'm saddened by the way Shedeur continues to be treated in the National Football League, now by those sorry-ass Browns and sorry-ass Kevin Stefanski.
Just to get Shedeur in the goddamn rhythm, but no, you come out calling regular offensive plays.
When they're at practice, Shedeur Sanders is not their priority. When he is at practice, he was staying hours beforehand, leaving hours later.
A situation like that, when it comes to the 3s and 4s that you're playing with that aren't going to be on the squad and not going to make the team, give your quarterback a chance. Okay, you know what? You know they can't hold up that long? Let's play quick game. Let's play quick game.
I'm going to answer this question by saying Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail.
When they're at practice, Shedeur Sanders is not their priority. When he is at practice, he was staying hours beforehand, leaving hours later.
I think with all of our players, Mary Kay, there's things that we can do better, and there's some good moments out there, but that's what our job as coaches, to develop our guys.
You just beat the guy. And that's okay. You get paid, he gets paid. Sometimes Ocho just gonna win because Ocho was just the better player. Sometimes the defensive back is gonna win. He wins some, you win more than you lose. Right.
I gotta watch the film, honestly. I can't say what it was. It's definitely different places where I could got my eyes in better spots and got to the progressions quicker and regardless of anything, so all those sacks, they definitely on me.
The Cleveland Browns just made the most shocking roster decision in recent NFL history. A decision so bizarre, so politically motivated, and so destructive that it's left players, coaches, and executives throughout the league questioning whether the Browns organization has completely lost its mind. Shedeur Sanders survived Tuesday's brutal roster cuts. He made the 53-man roster when dozens of other rookies were sent packing. He earned his spot through performance, dedication, and the kind of talent that can't be ignored. But then the Browns did something that has never happened before in the modern NFL era. They kept their most talented quarterback on the roster, and then buried him at 4th string on the depth chart. 4th string! Behind Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dillon Gabriel. A rookie who outperformed all 3 of them during the preseason is now listed as the emergency quarterback who might never see the field. This isn't just roster management. This isn't player development. This is organizational sabotage at the highest level, and I have the inside information that proves exactly why the Browns made this unprecedented decision to destroy their own draft pick. The leaked conversations, the behind-the-scenes power struggles, and the ownership intervention that's about to tear this organization apart, it's all coming out right now. In the 58-year history of the modern NFL draft, no team has ever kept 4 quarterbacks on their active roster while listing their most talented quarterback as 4th string. What the Browns did on Tuesday isn't just unusual, it's historically unprecedented and strategically insane. Let me break down exactly how bizarre this decision really is. The Browns are paying Joe Flacco $4.05 million to be their starter despite his mediocre preseason performance. They're paying Kenny Pickett $3 million to be their backup despite his struggles in Pittsburgh. They gave Dillon Gabriel a $2.8 million signing bonus as a 3rd-round pick despite being outplayed by Sanders throughout camp. And Shedeur Sanders, who completed 68% of his passes in the preseason while the other 3 combined for just 61%, is making league minimum as the 4th-string quarterback. It's the most backwards roster construction I've ever seen, one NFL executive told me. They're paying millions for inferior performance while burying their best quarterback at the bottom of the depth chart. It makes no football sense whatsoever. But here's what makes this decision even more shocking. Multiple sources confirm that the Browns received trade offers for Sanders from at least 6 different teams. Teams that were willing to give up draft picks to acquire a quarterback they believe has franchise potential. The Browns turned down all of them. They had opportunities to trade Shedeur to teams that would actually use him, one source revealed. Instead, they chose to keep him and bury him. That's not roster management, that's spite. The decision to keep 4 quarterbacks while listing Sanders as 4th string has created chaos throughout the Browns organization. Players are questioning the coaching staff's competence, coaches are second-guessing the front office's strategy, and ownership is reportedly furious about how this situation has been handled. Nobody understands what they're trying to accomplish, a Browns insider admitted. It's like they're more interested in proving they were right about Shedeur than actually winning football games. The Browns' decision to bury Shedeur Sanders at 4th string wasn't made unanimously. According to leaked information from inside the organization, this decision sparked the most heated front office battle in Browns history, with ownership, coaches, and executives engaged in an all-out civil war over Sanders' future. The battle lines were drawn clearly. Jimmy Haslam and the ownership group wanted Sanders promoted to at least 3rd string, recognizing his superior performance during the preseason. The coaching staff, led by Kevin Stefanski, was determined to keep Sanders buried to protect their predetermined evaluation of the quarterback competition. It was World War III in that building, one source described. Jimmy was screaming at coaches, coaches were threatening to quit, executives were taking sides. I've never seen anything like it. The leaked details of these confrontations are absolutely explosive. In one heated meeting on Monday night, just hours before the roster deadline, Haslam reportedly told Stefanski, "You're destroying the most talented quarterback we've had in decades to protect your own ego. This is organizational malpractice." Stefanski's response, according to multiple witnesses, was equally heated. "If you want to coach the team, fire me and do it yourself. Otherwise, let me make the football decisions." But the most damaging leak involves a conference call between Browns executives and coaching staff that took place Tuesday morning. During this call, General Manager Andrew Berry reportedly sided with ownership, arguing that Sanders had earned a higher position on the depth chart through his performance. Andrew basically told the coaches that they were making a mistake, one source revealed. He said that keeping Shedeur at 4th string would be impossible to justify to the media and the fans. But the coaches wouldn't budge. The civil war reached its peak when Haslam threatened to override the coaching staff's decision and personally promote Sanders on the depth chart. Only the intervention of team president D. Haslam prevented what would have been an unprecedented ownership intervention in day-to-day roster decisions. D convinced Jimmy that publicly overruling the coaches would create even more chaos, a source close to the ownership group explained. But Jimmy made it clear that this isn't over. He's not going to let them destroy Shedeur's career. Faced with overwhelming criticism of their decision to list Shedeur Sanders as 4th string, the Browns coaching staff has been scrambling to provide justifications that make football sense. But according to sources inside the organization, their explanations have been so contradictory and desperate that they've only made the situation worse. Kevin Stefanski's public explanation focused on development and learning opportunities, suggesting that Sanders would benefit from watching and learning from 3 veteran quarterbacks. But privately, coaches have been giving completely different explanations to different people. Kevin told one group of coaches that Shedeur wasn't ready for the complexity of NFL defenses, one source revealed. Then he told another group that they were protecting him from the pressure of expectations. Then he told ownership that it was about roster flexibility. Every explanation was different. The most telling aspect of the coaching staff's justification attempts has been their inability to explain why Sanders performed better than the 3 quarterbacks ranked ahead of him during the preseason. When pressed by reporters about Sanders' superior completion percentage and decision-making, Stefanski resorted to vague comments about intangibles and system familiarity that couldn't be measured statistically. "It was painful to watch," one media member described. Kevin was clearly making up explanations on the spot because he couldn't admit the real reason they buried Shedeur. But the most desperate justification came during a closed-door meeting with team captains, where Stefanski reportedly argued that keeping Sanders at 4th string would motivate him to work harder and build character. The captains just stared at him, one witness revealed. They couldn't believe he was trying to sell character building as a reason to bury their most talented quarterback. It was embarrassing. The coaching staff's justification attempts have been so unconvincing that several assistant coaches have privately expressed disagreement with the decision. There are coaches on that staff who know this is wrong, one source confirmed. They're watching the most talented quarterback they've coached get buried for political reasons, and they're disgusted by it. The Browns' decision to list Shedeur Sanders as fourth string has created the most dramatic player revolt in recent NFL history. Veterans who rarely speak out about coaching decisions are openly questioning the organization's competence, while younger players are threatening to demand trades if the situation isn't resolved. The revolt began in the locker room immediately after the depth chart was announced. According to multiple witnesses, several veteran players confronted coaches directly, demanding explanations for why their most talented quarterback was buried at the bottom of the roster. Guys were pissed, one player revealed. They've been watching Shedeur outplay everyone else all preseason, and now they're being told he's fourth string? Nobody bought it. The most vocal critic has been Myles Garrett, the team's defensive captain and most respected veteran. Sources confirm that Garrett had a heated confrontation with Kevin Stefanski, questioning whether the coaching staff was more interested in being right than winning games. Myles basically told Kevin that the players had lost confidence in the coaching staff's decision-making, one witness described. He said that if they couldn't recognize talent when it was right in front of them, how could players trust their judgment on anything else? But the player revolt extends beyond just individual confrontations. Sources confirm that a group of veteran players has been meeting privately to discuss their options, including the possibility of requesting a meeting with ownership to express their concerns about the coaching staff's handling of the quarterback situation. The players are organizing, one source revealed. They're talking about going over the coaches' heads and directly to Jimmy Haslam. They think the coaching staff has lost its mind. The most dramatic aspect of the player revolt involves younger players who are reportedly considering requesting trades if Sanders isn't given a fair opportunity. Some of the young guys are saying they don't want to play for an organization that destroys talent for political reasons, one player confirmed. They're worried that if it can happen to Shedeur, it can happen to them. The Browns' decision to bury Shedeur Sanders at fourth string has created a media firestorm that's unlike anything the organization has faced in recent memory. National analysts, local reporters, and social media influencers have all united in their criticism of what they're calling the most inexplicable roster decision in NFL history. ESPN's Stephen A. Smith led the charge with a scathing segment that questioned the Browns' organizational competence. This is the most backwards, politically motivated, talent-destroying decision I've seen in my 30 years covering the NFL. The Browns are sabotaging their own future to protect their coaches' egos. But the media criticism has extended far beyond just opinion shows. Respected NFL analysts have been breaking down Sanders' preseason performance compared to the three quarterbacks ranked ahead of him, and the statistical evidence makes the Browns' decision look even more ridiculous. Every measurable metric favors Shedeur, one analyst noted. Completion percentage, yards per attempt, decision-making under pressure, leadership in the huddle. He's better than all three guys ahead of him, and it's not even close. The fan reaction has been even more explosive than the media coverage. Browns fans, who have endured decades of organizational incompetence, are expressing outrage at what they see as another example of the team's inability to recognize and develop talent. Social media has been flooded with #FreeShedeur hashtags, with fans demanding that the organization either promote Sanders or trade him to a team that will actually use him. Browns fans are done with this organization's stupidity, one fan representative told me. They've watched the team destroy talented players for years, and they're not going to sit quietly while it happens to Shedeur. The most damaging aspect of the media and fan reaction has been the national ridicule that the Browns are facing. Comedy shows, sports talk radio, and social media influencers are all mocking the organization for keeping their best quarterback at fourth string. The Browns have become a laughingstock again, one media member observed. Just when people thought they were getting their act together, they make a decision that reminds everyone why they've been the worst franchise in the NFL for decades. Jimmy Haslam's frustration with his coaching staff's handling of Shedeur Sanders has reached a boiling point, with sources confirming that the Browns owner is preparing to take unprecedented action to protect his investment in the rookie quarterback. The escalation began with a series of heated phone calls between Haslam and Kevin Stefanski in the hours following the depth chart announcement. According to sources who were briefed on these conversations, Haslam made it clear that he considers the decision to bury Sanders at fourth string to be organizational malpractice. Jimmy told Kevin that he was destroying the most valuable asset the organization had acquired in years, one source revealed. He said that if the coaches couldn't recognize talent, maybe they weren't the right coaches for the job. But Haslam's intervention has gone beyond just private conversations with coaches. Sources confirm that the owner has been reaching out to other NFL executives, seeking advice on how to handle a situation where his coaching staff is sabotaging his draft pick. Jimmy's been calling other owners, asking how they would handle coaches who refuse to play their best players, one source confirmed. He's getting advice on whether he should fire coaches or override their decisions. The most explosive development in Haslam's intervention involves his consideration of a direct trade of Sanders to another organization, not because he doesn't believe in the quarterback, but because he doesn't trust his own coaches to develop him properly. Jimmy's been taking calls from other teams about Shedeur, a source close to the owner revealed. He's not actively shopping him, but he's listening to offers because he's worried that keeping him in Cleveland will destroy his career. The possibility of Haslam trading Sanders over his coach's objections has created panic within the Browns organization. Coaches realized that losing Sanders would be an admission that their evaluation was completely wrong, while front office executives worry about the precedent of ownership overruling football decisions. Everyone's walking on eggshells, one Browns employee described. Nobody knows if Jimmy's going to fire coaches, trade Shedeur, or just blow up the whole organization. The uncertainty is killing morale. The most damning evidence of the Browns' organizational dysfunction has been the revelation of specific trade offers they received for Shedeur Sanders, offers that prove other NFL teams value him far more than his own organization does. According to sources with direct knowledge of the trade discussions, the Browns received serious offers from 6 different teams, with some willing to give up significant draft capital to acquire Sanders. The most aggressive offer came from the Las Vegas Raiders, who reportedly offered their 2025 second-round pick plus a conditional 2026 third-round pick for Sanders. For context, that's more than the Browns originally invested to draft him in the 5th round. The Raiders basically offered to give Cleveland a profit on their investment, one source explained. They were willing to pay second-round value for a 5th-round pick because they recognized his talent. But Cleveland turned it down. But the Raiders weren't the only team willing to pay premium prices for Sanders. The New York Giants reportedly offered their 2025 third-round pick plus a 2026 4th-round pick, while the Tennessee Titans were willing to include Sanders in a larger trade package that would have netted the Browns multiple picks. Teams were lining up to trade for Shedeur, another source revealed. They all saw what Cleveland's coaches couldn't see, that he's a legitimate NFL quarterback who's being wasted. The most telling offer came from the Denver Broncos, who reportedly offered to swap their backup quarterback plus a draft pick for Sanders. The Broncos' backup quarterback is making $8 million this season, meaning they were willing to take on significant salary cap costs to acquire Sanders. Denver was basically offering to pay Cleveland to take Shedeur off their hands, one source explained. They recognized that he was being buried unfairly and wanted to give him a real opportunity. The Browns' rejection of all these trade offers has created confusion throughout the league. If they don't plan to use Sanders, why not trade him to a team that will? If they do plan to use him, why is he listed as 4th string? Nobody understands Cleveland's strategy, one NFL executive admitted. They're keeping a player they won't use while turning down valuable compensation from teams that would actually develop him. It's organizational malpractice. The most explosive revelation in the Shedeur Sanders saga has been the discovery of what sources are calling a systematic destruction plan, a deliberate strategy by the Browns coaching staff to undermine Sanders' confidence and development to prove their original evaluation was correct. This plan, detailed in leaked internal communications, goes far beyond just burying Sanders on the depth chart. It includes specific strategies to limit his practice opportunities, exclude him from meaningful game situations, and psychologically break down his confidence. One leaked email from Kevin Stefanski to his assistant coaches outlines the strategy in shocking detail. We need to manage Shedeur's development carefully. Limited reps with the first team, no red zone opportunities, and consistent reminders about areas for improvement. We can't let him build the confidence that would make ownership question our evaluation. But the systematic destruction plan goes even deeper. Sources have revealed that the coaching staff has been deliberately pairing Sanders with second and third string players during practice, ensuring that he doesn't have the support system necessary to succeed. They're setting him up to fail in every possible way, one assistant coach revealed. While the other quarterbacks get to work with the starting offensive line and first-team receivers, Shedeur gets stuck with guys who are fighting for roster spots. Then they act surprised when the chemistry isn't there. The most sinister aspect of the destruction plan involves what sources describe as psychological warfare designed to break Sanders' confidence and make him doubt his own abilities. They're constantly criticizing his decisions in front of other players, one witness described. Shedeur will make a great throw, and they'll find something wrong with his footwork. Dylan Gabriel will make the same throw with worse footwork, and they'll praise his decision-making. The leaked communications reveal that this psychological warfare is deliberate and coordinated. In one text exchange between coaches, the strategy is laid out explicitly. Coach 1, Shedeur's confidence is still too high. We need to break him down more. Coach 2, I'll make sure to criticize his reads in tomorrow's film session. Even when he's right, I'll find something wrong. Coach 1, perfect. We can't let him think he belongs with the starters. But perhaps the most damaging aspect of the systematic destruction plan is how it's designed to create a self-fulfilling prophecy. By limiting Sanders' opportunities and undermining his confidence, the coaches are trying to create the struggles that would justify their decision to bury him on the depth chart. It's diabolical, one source explained. They're creating the problems they claim already exist. They limit his practice time, then say he's not ready because he lacks experience. They pair him with backup players, then criticize him when the chemistry isn't perfect. They're manufacturing failure to justify their evaluation. The systematic destruction plan has been so effective that some players who initially supported Sanders have begun to question whether the coaches might be right about his readiness. That's the genius of what they're doing, one veteran player admitted. They're making it look like Shedeur's struggling naturally, when really they're creating the conditions for struggle. It's psychological manipulation at the highest level. The Browns' systematic destruction of Shedeur Sanders has reached a critical juncture, with multiple sources indicating that the situation is about to explode in ways that could permanently damage the organization's reputation and future prospects. The breaking point is being driven by several converging factors: Jimmy Haslam's growing fury with his coaching staff, a player revolt that's spreading throughout the locker room, media criticism that's becoming impossible to ignore, and Sanders himself finally reaching his limit with the organization's treatment. Sources close to Sanders reveal that the rookie quarterback has been maintaining his professionalism publicly while privately expressing frustration with the systematic sabotage he's experiencing. Shedeur's been trying to stay positive, but he's not stupid, one source revealed. He can see what they're doing to him. He knows he's being set up to fail, and he's getting tired of pretending everything is fine. The breaking point may come sooner than expected, as sources confirm that Sanders has been in contact with his representatives about potential options if the Browns continue to bury him on the depth chart. His agents are exploring every possible avenue, one source confirmed. Trade requests, grievances with the league, media campaigns. They're preparing for war if Cleveland doesn't start treating him fairly. But Sanders isn't the only one approaching a breaking point. Jimmy Haslam's patience with his coaching staff has reportedly reached its limit, with the owner considering drastic action to protect his investment. Jimmy's done playing games, a source close to ownership revealed. He's tired of watching his coaches destroy the most talented quarterback the team has had in years. Something's got to give, and it's going to give soon. The most explosive development involves reports that Haslam has been in contact with other coaching candidates, exploring the possibility of making mid-season changes if the Sanders situation isn't resolved. Jimmy's not just thinking about firing Kevin, one source revealed. He's thinking about cleaning house completely. He's tired of coaches who can't recognize talent when it's right in front of them. The breaking point is also being accelerated by the player revolt, which has grown from individual complaints to organized resistance against the coaching staff's decisions. The players are done being quiet, one veteran confirmed. They're planning something big, something that will force the organization to address this situation publicly. The most shocking revelation in the Shedeur Sanders saga has just emerged, and it exposes the true reason why the Browns coaching staff has been so determined to destroy their most talented quarterback. Kevin Stefanski's job security depends on proving that Jimmy Haslam's draft preferences are wrong. According to sources with direct knowledge of internal Browns politics, Stefanski has been under pressure from ownership to justify his conservative approach to quarterback evaluation. Haslam's insistence on drafting Sanders despite coaching staff objections created a power struggle that goes far beyond just one player. This isn't really about Shedeur, one source revealed. This is about Kevin proving to Jimmy that he knows more about evaluating quarterbacks than the owner does. If Shedeur succeeds, it makes Kevin look incompetent for not wanting to draft him. The revelation explains why Stefanski has been so resistant to giving Sanders opportunities despite his obvious talent. It's not about football evaluation, it's about organizational politics and job security. Kevin knows that if Shedeur becomes a star, Jimmy will question every other evaluation Kevin has made, another source explained. So he's willing to destroy Shedeur's career to protect his own reputation. But the ultimate revelation goes even deeper. Sources confirm that Stefanski has been actively lobbying other NFL coaches to support his evaluation of Sanders, trying to create a league-wide consensus that the rookie isn't ready for prime time. Kevin's been calling other coaches, trying to get them to agree that Shedeur needs more development, one source revealed. He's trying to create external validation for his decision to bury him on the depth chart. The most damaging aspect of this revelation is how it exposes the Browns organization's dysfunction at the highest levels. Instead of working together to develop talent, ownership and coaching staff are engaged in a power struggle that's destroying their most promising player. It's organizational malpractice, one former NFL executive observed. They're sacrificing their future to settle internal political disputes. It's the kind of dysfunction that destroys franchises. The ultimate revelation also explains why the Browns have been so resistant to trade offers for Sanders. Trading him would be an admission that they were wrong to bury him, which would undermine Stefanski's position with ownership. They can't trade him because it would prove Jimmy was right and Kevin was wrong, one source explained. So they're keeping him and destroying him rather than admitting their mistake. The Shedeur Sanders situation has reached a point where the Cleveland Browns organization faces a choice that will define their franchise for the next decade. They can continue their systematic destruction of their most talented quarterback to protect coaching staff egos, or they can admit their mistake and give Sanders the opportunity he's earned through his performance. But according to sources throughout the organization, this choice may be taken out of their hands by forces beyond their control. Jimmy Haslam's patience has reached its breaking point. The player revolt is becoming impossible to ignore, and the media criticism is damaging the organization's reputation throughout the league. Something's got to give, one Browns insider predicted. This situation is unsustainable. Either they promote Shedeur and admit they were wrong, or they're going to lose him and prove they're the most dysfunctional organization in the NFL. The most likely resolution involves ownership intervention that forces coaching staff changes. Sources confirm that Haslam has been exploring options for replacing Kevin Stefanski if the Sanders situation isn't resolved quickly. Jimmy's done watching his investment get destroyed by coaches who care more about being right than winning games, one source revealed. If Kevin won't use Shedeur properly, Jimmy will find coaches who will. But the damage to Sanders may already be irreversible. The systematic destruction plan has been so effective that even if he's promoted now, his confidence and development may have been permanently compromised. They've done psychological damage that might take years to repair, one sports psychologist observed. When your own coaches are working against you, it creates trust issues that can destroy a player's career even after the situation changes. The broader implications of the Sanders situation extend far beyond just one player or one organization. This case has exposed systematic problems with how NFL teams handle internal politics, player development, and organizational accountability. This is a cautionary tale for every NFL organization, one league executive noted. When politics becomes more important than performance, when egos matter more than winning, you get situations like this where talent gets destroyed for no good reason. The ultimate irony of the Browns' handling of Sanders is that their attempt to prove he wasn't worth a fifth-round pick has actually proven he was worth much more. The trade offers they received, the media attention he's generated, and the player support he's earned all demonstrate that other organizations recognize his value even if his own team doesn't. Cleveland had a potential franchise quarterback fall into their lap in the 5th round, one NFL scout observed. Instead of developing him, they're destroying him to protect their coaches' reputations. It's the most Browns thing imaginable. The Shedeur Sanders saga represents everything wrong with the Cleveland Browns organization: political infighting, ego-driven decision-making, and a willingness to sacrifice talent for personal agendas. Whether they can overcome these institutional problems and give Sanders the opportunity he deserves will determine not just his future, but the future of the entire franchise. What do you think the Browns should do? Should Jimmy Haslam fire Kevin Stefanski and promote Sanders immediately? Should they trade Sanders to a team that will actually develop him? Or should they continue their systematic destruction and prove once again why they're the most dysfunctional organization in professional sports? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This situation is far from over, and the resolution will have implications that extend far beyond just one player or one team. This is NFL Report, where we expose the organizational dysfunction they don't want you to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.